When I meet an atheist, the first thing I do is I congratulate him. I congratulate an atheist. You may ask that, why is Brother Zakir congratulating an atheist? I congratulate him because he is a Christian, because father is a Christian. That person is a Hindu because father is a Hindu. Many Muslims are because fathers are Muslims. This atheist is thinking that he's coming from a religious background, maybe a Christian or a Hindu background. If he's coming from a Hindu background, one God is fighting with another God. The God's wife is taken away and the God takes 12 years to save his wife. How long will it take to save me if I'm in problem? And God is crucified on the cross. So he starts thinking, how can we believe in such God? So he doesn't believe in God. I congratulate him. You know why? Because he has said the first part of the Islamic Shahada, La ilaha, there is no God. What I have to do is prove to him illallah, which I shall do inshallah. So half my job is done. With the Hindu and the Christian, first has to tell him the God that you're worshipping is wrong. And then put the correct concept of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here half my job is done. He already agrees there is no God. So my job is easy, so I congratulate him. La ilaha, there is no God. But then you should prove illallah, which I shall do inshallah. And there are various techniques showed in my cassette. Is the Quran God's word? Quran modern science, how to do it? I'll just tell you in brief. I'll ask him the first thing that suppose if you have an object, a machinery, which no one in the world has seen. If I tell that atheist, it's brought to you for the first time in front of you. This machinery, this object, no one in the world has seen. No one. First time it's brought in front of you. Who will be the first person who will be able to tell you the mechanism of this object? Can you guess? Who will be the first person who will be able to tell you the mechanism of this object? Can anyone make any guess? The maker. Any other guess? The creator. The person who makes this. Whatever answer the atheist will give, will tell you the maker, or the creator, or the manufacturer, or the producer, somewhat similar. Keep it in your mind. The first person who will tell you the mechanism of an object which no one has seen in the world is the creator, or maker, or the manufacturer. Now you ask him, how did the universe come into existence? So he will tell you that today's science has told us that initially there was one primary nebula. Then there was secondary separation. There was the Big Bang, which gave rise to galaxies, planets, and the present Earth we live in. Talking about the Big Bang theory. That's how the universe came into existence. So you tell him, but this is already mentioned in the Quran, 1400 years ago, in Surah Al-Anbiya, chapter 21, verse number 30, which says, أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Do not the unbelievers see, أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتْ رَتْقًا فَسَقْنَاهُمَا. That the heaven and the earth were joined together and we clove them asunder. Who could have mentioned about this Big Bang theory you're talking about, which was discovered yesterday in science? Yesterday means 30 years back, 100 years back. Quran mentions 14 years ago. Who could have mentioned that? So he will tell you, maybe it's a flow. Don't argue with him. Next part. You ask him, what was the initial state of the celestial matter before the universe was created? He will tell you, it is gas. You tell him this book, the Quran says in Surah Fussilat, chapter 41, verse number 11, that it was dukhan, it was smoke. So you ask him, is it right or wrong? He will tell you that smoke is more appropriate than gas, if he knows the science well. You ask him, what's the shape of the earth? He will tell you it is spherical. So you ask him, when did you discover this? If you know the science well, he will tell you, in 1577, Sir Francis Drake was the first person who sailed around the earth. You tell him, Quran says in Surah Naziat, chapter 79, verse number 30, وَالْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ دَحَاهَا. And thereafter, we have made the earth egg-shaped, referring to the egg of an ostrich, which is not round like a ball. You tell him the Quran says the earth is not round like a ball. It is flattened from the top and bulging from the center. He says, yes, that's more correct. It is geospherical. So you are telling it is round. Quran said it is geospherical 1400 years ago. Who could have mentioned that? Your prophet who wrote the Quran. He's an intelligent person. No, you may say something. Don't argue. The light of the moon, its own light or reflected light, he will tell you reflected. Quran says in Surah Furqan, chapter 25, verse 61. I was taught in school, the sun was stationary, it didn't rotate about its axis. Quran says in Surah Al-Anbiya, chapter 21, verse number 33, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ. That it is Allah who has created the night and the day. وَالشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ, the sun and the moon. كُلٌّ فِي فَلَكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ, each one traveling in orbit with its own motion. Quran says the sun revolves and rotates. In school I didn't learn that. I was taught it didn't rotate about its axis. It was stationary. He will tell you, no, latest discovery in science tells us that the sun also rotates and it takes about 25 days to complete one rotation. Who could have mentioned in the Quran? Ask him. He will pause. Like that, Quran speaks about biology. Every living thing made from water. Who could have written that? Quran speaks about water cycle, how the water rise, falls, from the clouds move in the interior, water falls down, and the water cycle is completed. Quran speaks about salt and sweet water. There are two types of water, salt and sweet water. Between them, the barrier which is forbidden to be trespassed. Surah Furqan, chapter 25, verse 53, and Surah Rahman, chapter 55, verse 19 to 20. Quran speaks about geology, that we have made the earth as an expanse, wal jibala autada, and the mountain that stakes. Surah Naba, chapter 78, verse 6 and 7. Who could have mentioned that? Keep on asking. And the only answer he can give you, it can't be by fluke, because the theory of probability. You tell him a theory of probability, that the chances that if it's a fluke, for example, if I toss a coin, the chances that I'll be right is 1 out of 2. It can either be heads or tails. And if I make a fluke guess, the chances I'll be right is half, 1 upon 2. If I toss a coin twice, the chances I'll be right both the time is half into half, is 1 upon 4, is 25%. If I toss a coin thrice, chances I'll be right all 3 times is 1 upon 2 into 1 upon 2 into 1 upon 2 is 1 upon 8, is 12.5%. Similarly, if you use this probability theory to the Quran, that what are the possible shapes a person can think of for the earth? A person can think of about 30 shapes. It can be square, it can be flat, it can be quadrangle, it can be rectangle, it can be triangle, it can be spherical, 30 shapes. The chances someone makes a wild guess, it's correct, is 1 out of 30. Light of moon can be own light or reflected light. Chances someone makes a guess, it's correct, is 1 upon 2. Chances both are correct, is 1 upon 30 into 1 upon 2 is 1 upon 60. If a person wants to make a guess, everything is created of what? In the deserts of Arabia, a person will first think of sand, of wood, of some other metal, aluminium, maybe iron, and maybe a person can think of 10,000 things which living creatures can be made of. Chances that he makes a wild guess and it's correct is 1 upon 10,000. Chances that all 3 are correct is 1 upon 30 into 1 upon 2 into 1 upon 10,000 is 1 upon 60,000. If you calculate, 0.000017 is 0.017%. In 3 things it has come to 0.017%. If you put up all, Quran speaks about 1,000 verses about sands. And mathematics tells us if 0.00, if there are 50 zeros, it is equivalent to 0. So chances that it's a wild guess is 0. Who could have written that? He will tell you. Creator, maker, manufacturer. This creator we call as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I just told in short. For more details, refer to my video cassette, Is the Quran God's Word? Various techniques to prove the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.